News 2 at 10.
Good evening, I'm Adam Snyder. It is a growing trend in Nashville, one the community is trying to curb. Youth violence. Several organizations are asking for help to keep kids on the right path. Brenton Ramadna shows us what that means.
Mothers Over Murder put on the meeting, but other grassroots organizations like Bulletproof Inc. and Impact Youth Outreach were on hand as well. Their mission, stop youth violence. Today they discussed how they would do that. The #1 talking point, resources. The groups in attendance stated that if their organizations, which looked at helping the youth of Nashville, could get more funding, they believe they could help stop the increase in youth crime. Now, many of the organizations say they're even paying out of pocket to help make a difference. Their urgent call to action aimed at Nashville's public officials and community leaders. They want to stop youth violence in a number of ways, from mental health and counseling programs for at-risk kids. There's also a need to fund more parental development programs that assist families in crisis. They say the money they have received isn't enough.
A lot of these organizations, they need resources, and it's important that they have the resources that they need to help bring that change so that they can be part of the solution. You can't just give pennies and expect to get $1 million worth of results. That just doesn't make sense. So I would challenge not only elected officials, but I challenge the community to start supporting organizations.
It's definitely a problem in the city, youth violence is. If you look at the numbers, every year it's getting worse and worse amongst our teens. I believe it can be fixed, but it needs to be a strategic plan, and it needs to be targeted in the right direction, and you need to have the right people at the forefront of the fight.
Now, after the meeting ended, one man came forward and pledged to donate $1,000 to Clemmy Greenlee with Nashville Peacemakers. Take a listen to what he had to say.
It's absolutely saddening, it's sickening, it's disgusting, but when you look at the system and you look at why this stuff is happening, it's almost the same situation in every household. I'm giving $1,000 in the name of my company directly, and like I said, I challenge any and every other business owner, attorney, store hand, anybody else who's out here. I'm not saying you have to do 1,000. I'm not saying you have to limit yourself to 1,000. But help.
Brent, thank you for your reporting. Meanwhile, Nashville's mayor recently met with juvenile court officials to come up with a new plan. Some groups believe that some juveniles don't face serious enough consequences after they've been convicted. We caught up with Mayor Briley at a United Way event today. He spoke about being involved in young people's lives before they're faced with bad decisions.
Well, when it comes to youth violence, it is something our community has got to be very focused on. So just this week I met with the juvenile court judge and with people from my office to sort of look at what we can do to prevent this kind of violence from ever happening. When it's a 12-year-old that's involved in it, it's really, I think, incumbent upon us to get involved earlier in a young person's life, because how they could make such a big bad decision at 12 is really confounding, and I think requires us all to get to work.
Now, it is unclear what will be on the mayor's plan, but we're told it will be announced in a few weeks. The cost of this new plan hasn't been announced either.